Hello, and welcome to Handled Ish Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I'm really happy you're here on YouTube or your favorite podcast app or the KC24 CBS 47 Plus app that you can download on your smart TV. This is episode 92. If you're kind of sure, start down the path or flip a coin. And we're going to start with the flipping the coin. So, the inspiration for this podcast came up actually because of three separate things that happened last week. One was a conversation with a student, one was a conversation with some new friends. I joined a walking group, which, oh my gosh, everyone should do that, I think. And then also later that day, I was meeting with a friend who is sort of exploring three different paths. So, sort of all swirled together. And it really sort of solidified kind of some of my thoughts I have about this. So, we're actually going to talk about the coin flip first. And this is probably not the way you're typically thinking of a coin flip. Obviously, this is best utilized when there are two distinct choices, and either you're really not sure which one you want to choose, or you're really not ready to admit it to yourself, which, maybe it's just me, but I think we've all been there. And so, let's just say for the sake of argument, you have two distinct choices and you aren't sure. So, a great strategy is to flip a coin. Obviously assign choice A to heads, choice B to tails. Flip a coin. And the most important piece of this is not where the coin lands. It is what your body does when you look at the result. So let me explain. So let's just say choice A was heads, choice B was tails for clarity. And the coin lands on side B, tails. And your body just feels disappointed. That is the most important clue about the whole thing. It's not about the coin flip. The coin flip isn't making decisions for you. You are making decisions for you. But sometimes we need sort of this external tool to help us figure out what the heck we want to do. So it lands on tails, which is choice B, and your body is just instantly disappointed. That means choice A is the vibe, right? And if conversely, if it lands on tails, choice B, and your body's like, okay, there's a little relaxed, maybe there's some excitement, maybe there's some fear, nothing wrong with that, but there's not disappointment. If there's not disappointment, then that perhaps is the way to go. So the coin flip came up. My student was doing some street interviews for my capstone class, and she was somewhere wanting to do the interviews, and she was just feeling nervous and not sure if she should stay. And so she actually had Siri do a coin flip for her. And that sort of led to this conversation about how useful coin flips can be in different situations. So I wanted to share the coin flip thing. So whether it is a coin flip that has led you down a path or you just are kind of sure about something, I believe that the next step is to start down the path. I think sometimes when we're kind of sure, when we're completely sure, it's a little bit easier to go down the path. But when we're kind of sure, pretty sure, almost positive, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get started because often in that situation, we can't see all the steps in front of us. Full disclosure, I'm a person that would love to see all the steps in front of me every time I want to go down a path. That should surprise no one if you've been listening to this podcast for more than 30 seconds. However, I also know enough about life that often we are not aware of all of the steps in the path when we choose to start going down it. And I believe that that is okay. I've gotten to this place where I believe that is okay. And to be honest with you, maybe even better. Because I think sometimes that if we were to lay out the entire plan, we might not have the best plan because sometimes things have to be revealed to us in time once we start going down a path. So let's just say you're kind of sure, pretty sure, almost sure. I believe you should head down the path. And the only thing you really need is step one. And start step one and then be open to whatever steps two, three, and four are. And If you are down the right path, steps 2, 3, and 4 will reveal themselves to you if you are open to it. It'll just sort of happen, and then you will do step 2. Maybe then steps 3 and 4 will reveal themselves. You can do that. Maybe the whole entire path will all of a sudden, be super clear. But my best advice here is to not worry if you cannot see all the steps to the path. Um, Head down it. Do step 1. And if, when you are open to this path, if you do not, have the steps that are subsequent clear after starting down the path, then it's a little bit of time to reflect. You know what? Maybe this wasn't the path for you. Maybe that yourself being kind of sure was not about fear or anxiety necessarily. It was about, maybe this is not what is for me at this particular moment. And that is totally okay. Because honestly, I don't think you would have realized that if you hadn't have started down the path. If you stay in this kind of sure, I think so, blah, 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 sort of limbo sitch, it's not going to serve you in any way. So that's what I have for you this week. Distinct choices. Maybe try the coin flip. Pay attention to whether or not your body feels disappointment with the result. Very, very big, humongous clues. And then if you're kind of sure, start down that path. Do step 1. And if you are open, you have to be open to other opportunities and steps revealing themselves, then clearly just keep going down the path. If they don't, maybe that is also a clue that this is not the path for you. And you just needed to take some action in order to figure that out for yourself. So, super excited to hear about if you tried that, if you have tried that, what you think about it, all the things. So, please let me know. In the meantime, please have the most wonderful week ever. And I look forward to visiting next time. And remember, as always, and I really sincerely mean this, you are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me.